In this part 2 video, we look at the costumes of Black Panther, the 2018 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name. Coming up. Welcome back to another episode of Costume Co. For those of you that are new to the channel, I do almost weekly costume analysis and I stream every Saturday night. If you want to be notified when I upload, consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything. In this part 2 episode of a 2-part series, we break down all of the principal characters in the Black Panther movie. And I have another video where I had the opportunity to interview costume designer Ruth E. Carter, so I'll put both of those in the description below in case you haven't seen them. Warning, there are some spoilers for the entire Black Panther movie. The Dora Milaje are an elite group of female bodyguards and Wakandan special forces. Black Panther costume designer Ruth Carter said, "We wanted to make them have more of a presence, more of a strength of authority. That they did have. They were badass chicks who were protecting the king until T'Challa, being the Black Panther, is walking around in this skin suit. We didn't want the guy in the skin suit walking around with the girls in the bathing suits. We developed more as a real warrior might be developed." Real warriors who need their arms protected and need to have shields and armor and weaponry and shoes, like they're going to go to battle. It took us some time to get there because we all as women want to be the girl who can fry up the bacon and do all the other stuff. But in the end, it's got to feel empowering. And then Carter said, "We didn't want them to be these sexy girls walking around with a guy in a bulletproof catsuit. We wanted them to be serious fighters." Here are 2 concept illustrations of the Dora Milaje by the Black Panther concept team. So the one on the left is by concept artist Keith Christensen, and the one on the right is by Anthony Francisco. According to Carter, one of the inspirations for the Dora Milaje was the Maasai people, who are an indigenous group inhabiting central and southern Kenya and northern Tanzania. Carter incorporated the vibrant red color of their shuka blankets, typically red striped, although colors like blue and pink with other patterns like plaid are also common. And Carter said, "This brilliant red is a consistent color in Africa, so I upped the ante on the tone. I wanted it to be almost like an intimidating red, just intense and saturated." Like the Dora Milaje, head shaving is a common rite of passage of the Maasai, including for the women during different stages of her life. Only Maasai warriors have long plaited hair. Beadwork has a long history with the Maasai women, whose identity is embodied in their beadwork. Here are 2 examples. So on the left is a Kenyan beadwork belt that dates between 1870 to 1929, and it's made from skin, plant, glass bead, and mineral pigment. And on the right is a beaded Maasai necklace that's also from Kenya, and both of these items are on display at the Textile Museum of Canada. The Dora Milaje harness and tabard is intended to be an heirloom piece that would be handed down through generations. Carter said of this, "Just like you would see a samurai uniform, their uniform needed to also have the handcrafted element to it so that it felt like something that had been around for centuries, that the uniform was passed out to them and they could pass it down to their children." Carter also adds, "I put little talismans on them, and you can see them in this picture. I felt like each girl could have something on her tabard that personalized it for her and maybe represented the tribe that she came from. Some of them might have a fertility doll, a piece of amethyst, or a piece of jade." According to Carter, director Ryan Coogler wanted the silver armor to look like jewelry, so Carter and her team, headed up by jewelry designer Dorian Fletcher, made sure that it had a brilliant shine. According to the New York Times, one of the major costuming feats Fletcher assisted with was in helping to create the look of the Dora Milaje. And although there were specifications in terms of the armored adornments she was asked to make, Fletcher was still able to bring her own flair to it. And Carter states that the silver or metal is meant to represent vibranium. Here is a Panther Buckle created by jewelry designer Fletcher. She said in the same Los Angeles Times article, "Ruth showed me what kinds of things Wakanda reflected to her, what it meant to her. So I was able to go off and do some things and bring them back to her. It was just a good match." And you can find this item on Dorian Fletcher's website along with other Black Panther licensed jewelry. So I'll leave a link for that in the description below. Disney states that the neck rings worn by the Dora Milaje were patterned after the neck rings worn by the women of the Ndebele tribe. For shooting purposes, however, they were remade in rubber. In the southern Ndebele practice, the copper or brass neck rings are called inzilla and are said to represent a myriad of things. The inzilla was historically worn by married women and only after they had been built a home by their husbands. The Dora Milaje also wear ring bracelets. Here's an example of a 19th century Maasai bracelet from the Metropolitan Museum in New York. Carter said that this tabard that falls down the front of the body needs to have some kind of meaning. Just like the samurai warriors that hand down their armor that stands the test of time for centuries, I felt like there needed to be a little bit of that in the spirit of this costume. In Zulu culture, for instance, they use beadwork as a form of communication, using color and shapes to send their messages. And Carter states that the beadwork on the tabard, meanwhile, is inspired by the Turkana tribe. The Turkana tribe is a nomadic pastoralist people that inhabit the Turkana district in Kenya's Rift Valley province. Their brightly beaded necklaces are very heavy and can weigh about 3 kilograms. Shoulders are further accentuated by large beaded collars, overhangs around the neck. Like the Maasai tribe, the Turkana also create beaded jewelry like this beaded necklace from Kenya that dates between 1970 and 1989. The necklace is made from sisal, glass bead, and skin. Here are 2 other Turkana pieces from Kenya. On the left, we have a late 20th century apron made from goat skin, plant, glass bead, and mineral pigment, while on the right is a beadwork belt from Kenya dating from the mid to late 20th century that's made from plant, glass bead, skin, and mineral pigment. And all of these pieces are also from the Textile Museum of Canada. Carter says that when the Dora Milaje come on the set, you can hear them coming and it's exciting. We were learning as we were going. We needed to present another female warrior that was fully clothed with her vitals protected. She's really, truly ready for battle. Here's another concept by Keith Christensen. And then Carter says, all those layers of their relationships are represented in the costumes. Mother Queen, General Girlfriend, Spy Ex-Girlfriend, Sister Genius. I think in general there's a sense of royalty and esteem with the female uniforms. They have no past, and we made them with a specific story in mind. It loops you into Wakanda. They are handcrafted by the merchant tribe and some other faction that only make Dora red uniforms. Okoye is the head of the Dora Milaje, the all-female Wakandan Special Forces. Okoye wears gold armor to indicate that she is the leader of the Dora Milaje. Makeup artist Ken Diaz tells Teen Vogue that he designed Okoye's head tattoo to resemble the shape of a fighter pilot's helmet, with triangular outlining that would very much complement the amazing costume design. And makeup artist Tim Buchanan adds, I wanted to keep her looking feminine yet strong. I gave her cat eye makeup to show her devotion to Black Panther, strong contour, and sheer red lips. Carter says that you can see that she has jewelry draping down the front part of the skirt. She is truly a decorated general. Meanwhile, the brown leather harness seen here is meant to look hand-tooled by the same craft makers of Wakanda that would have made the Queen's costume. The harness beautifully follows the shape of the body, accentuated by the beaded lines of the undertunic. Okoye's dress is crimson red, the color of the Dora Milaje, and the bodice is incorporated with gold to symbolize her rank. According to director Ryan Coogler, part of her honor is her bald head, so to have to wear a wig is a dishonor for her, but she has to attempt to fit in with the real world. She is the only one in this scene, by the way, who's wearing red. Here is a close-up of the top and bottom of the dress taken from a Marvel exhibit. Ruth Carter said it took a lot of R&D to develop that dress because she had to perform in so many ways. And in an interview with Collider, she said that the dress was one of the first designs she had done, and it took about 3 months to complete. Carter hired a dance costume expert with the Boston Ballet to create the dress. And according to Carter, the cutter she hired had an understanding of the fabric and how it could move during the intense fight scenes. Originally, a muslin mock-up was first made to determine if they had enough layers. The final dress had about 5 layers underneath. They tested the final dress on top of a car with a stunt girl, and the dress naturally did its thing without the addition of CGI. Erik Killmonger is a new photo Wakanda with designs on the throne. Like Ryan Coogler himself, Killmonger is from Oakland, California, so Coogler drew upon his personal fashion knowledge. Carter stated that Killmonger represents urban America and wears Balmain boots and drop-crotch pants and jean jacket with shirling. We gave him some drop-crotch pants because Ryan Coogler loves a drop-crotch pant. Carter adds that, "We've never seen Michael B. Jordan wearing eyeglasses like that. Ryan Coogler went to the moon. Every time he saw him in these glasses, he would just laugh. You could just see by the look on his face that he felt it was so right." Carter said part of his past is military with a tactical vest, pants, and jacket. There's so much Americana in his costume, it really does play him opposite of T'Challa, and they both end up wearing a Panther suit in the end. You can really latch onto any relationship, biblical, mythological, primal. Here's a close-up of his tactical vest before aging and painting, and it's taken from Carter's Instagram page. And a nice design detail is the incorporation of this African webbing in place of the standard black and gray. Killmonger's torso is covered with hundreds of scars. The men of the Suri tribe in Ethiopia, they scar their bodies to show they've killed someone from an enemy tribe. The scarification of actor Michael B. Jordan's torso was created by the prosthetics team that was headed up by makeup designer Joel Harlow. According to Disney, Harlow and 3 other makeup artists supplied close to 90 individually sculpted silicone molds to his upper body. This scarification application process entails transferring each mold and then blending and painting them to match Jordan's skin tone. Each of Killmonger's scars represents a notch of his kills over the years. Carter states that Killmonger's suit is incredibly special. His is a gold-spotted suit. In the process of making it, we put a real gold suit underneath his skin suit, which is the black spotted suit. We gave him a heavy gold necklace. He's a little bit more ostentatious than Black Panther, a little more street, I would say. The people of the Border Tribe live on the borders of Wakanda and serve as the first line of defense for the country. They are immediately recognizable because of their brightly blue cloaks. The Border Tribe elder seen here on the left is wearing a Lesotho-inspired heart-shaped drape over his head. These hats are worn in winter by the Basotho, a Bantu ethnic group whose ancestors have lived in South Africa since around the 5th century. Here are some concepts for the border warriors, both with and without the hood. Carter said that the Lesotho do these wonderful blankets with these amazing prints on them that represent their king, they represent harvest. And we screen printed on the other side with vibranium, silver, and Dinkra symbols so that their blankets could be used as shields during fighting. And we worked on those blankets from start to finish. You can see here that the screen printed silver that's meant to represent the vibranium. And Carter also told me in an interview that director Ryan Coogler spent time with the Basotho and even got their blessing to use their blankets in the movie Black Panther. During a wardrobe fitting with one of the Border Tribe warriors, the actor here tries out his Basotho blanket movements. This video was taken from Carter's Instagram account. Here are the blankets worn by the Basotho. According to the Aranda, the sole sellers of the heritage blanket, they say, traditionally Basotho blankets are manufactured from wool, which offers protection from the wind and rain and provides warmth in the high altitude of the mountain kingdom. Here's a picture of one of the blankets from Aranda's online store. This heritage blanket is from the family Sienna Marina in the Poon design. According to Aranda, the corn cob is the most widely used motif throughout the range of the Basutu heritage blankets. In Basutu culture, maize is the staple food, and therefore the corn cob is a symbol of fertility and wealth. The more prestigious Sienna Marina designs feature more corn cobs than the everyday wearing blankets. Wakabi is the head of security for the border tribe and a close friend of T'Challa. Like all Wakandans, he wears kimoyo beads on his wrist, pieces of advanced communication technology adapted by the Wakandans from vibranium. Kimoyo is Bantu for of the spirit. Wakabi is wearing this overcloak that is screen printed with silver and Dinkra symbols. And under that, he's wearing a Basutu blanket that looks like this Motlatsi family blanket in the Kosana design. And in case you're wondering, these blankets, they sell for about 883 Rand, which works out to about $73 US. Makeup designer Harlow stated that the border tribe's scarification, as seen here on Wakabi's face, is based upon the Mercy and Bumi tribes of Ethiopia. The mining tribe is solely responsible for the mining of vibranium in Wakanda. Their signature colors are orange and red, similar to the Turkana tribe. Here's a concept for a mining tribe elder. The headpiece was inspired by the Maasai tribe, which is the same tribe Carter's team used as inspiration for the Dora Milaje. And Carter has said that she beaded the mask herself. And his drape is just a cloth that's knotted on the shoulder. According to Carter, the bigger the feathers of fur that surround the crown, the more fierce of a warrior that you are. And these Maasai headdresses are made from ostrich feather plumes. The mining tribe elder wears a Himba tribe-inspired wig covered in a paste made from ochre and shea butter. Carter used this crown that we see here. It was actually a piece she had as inspiration for the series Roots, which was a 2016 miniseries that she was costume designer for. The Ova Himba are a relatively small group of indigenous peoples considered the last semi-nomadic people living in northern Namibia. Himba women cover their plaited hair and skin with Ochus paste, which is a terracotta-colored cosmetic. The paste both cleanses and protects their skin from the extremely hot and dry climate, and over time the Ochus flakes off, removing dirt and dead skin. The Jabari tribe are traditional Wakandans who shun the use of vibranium and live in relative isolation in the mountains. Actor Winston Duke states that the Jabari strongly believe that to move forward, you have to have a strong adherence and respect for the past, so they have a deep moral conscience. The Jabari tribe adhere to traditional customs, which include worshiping the god gorilla Hanuman. Carter says, I used ancient African history to come up with some of these ideas. For example, the Dogon tribe is one of the inspirations for the Jabari tribe in Wakanda. They wore these wonderful raffia skirts during the celebration they perform once a year. Dogon are an ethnic group living in the Central Plateau region of Mali in West Africa. According to Focus on Geography, Dogon dancers wear regalia worn by coming-of-age men during a Dama performance designed to enhance movement such as colored hibiscus fibers attached to the wrists and ankles. Decorations may also include breastplates made from shells, which is a form of currency by the Dogon people, and beads worn above loose pants. Colors used within regalia represent the four basic elements: red for fire, black for water, white for sky, and yellow or ochre for earth. Carter says of the Dogon people, they were the first astronomers, and they were very much on the outskirts of the rest of the country, like the Jabari. Here is a Mali masquerade vest and overskirt, and I'm sorry that the picture is in black and white, and it's of the Dogon culture from the 20th century. So the skirt's made from Sansevieria fiber, which is more commonly known as a snake plant, while the vest is made from cotton, cowrie shells, glass, and plastic beads. Here are two Mali Dogon ceremonial masks from West Africa from the 20th century. The looped and braided one on the left is made from plant fiber or material, cowrie shells, and glass beads, while the basket woven mask on the right is made from plant, glass beads, and cowrie shells. Here is one of the Dogon warriors working with their costume during their fitting in the wardrobe, and I took this from Ruth Carter's Instagram account. M'Baku is the leader of the Jabari tribe. In a Vulture interview, Carter says that M'Baku's comic book origins was pretty derogatory and racist, and we didn't want to go there, but we wanted to honor that he was man-ape. So instead of making his face look like an ape like the comics did, the fur that he has on his shoulders that prominently covers his back is silvery in tone and represents the silverback ape. M'Baku only wears his gorilla mask for a short stint during the challenge duel. Carter said, since M'Baku is a person that lives in this cold, smelly place, we kept adding more fur and I wrapped his arms in it so that it looked like he was keeping warm. We couldn't found a way to connect some of the fur so that it would stay up there because it's really just sitting on his shoulders like by magic. So we put magnets on him, like heavy-duty refrigerator magnets, so that piece really stays up there. It's not moving, but it's held by magnets. Carter trimmed M'Baku's leather outfit with cowrie shells to signify his wealth, since shells were a form of currency for many years in Africa. And in the scene, M'Baku wears carved wooden forearm covers lined in fur and embossed with pyramid studs that, along with his greaves, give him this sort of like gladiator quality. And notice that the front of his leather tunic is shaped with chevrons, which is a common pattern that we see throughout Wakanda. Here's the initial concept of M'Baku's battle costume. The Jabari wooden breastplate, which is meant to represent a gorilla, is similar to his final costume. Here's a picture of M'Baku's costume from an exhibit. His wooden weapon seen here is referred to as a knob carry, which is a traditional weapon of South Africa. In this great close-up of his costume, you can see his grass skirt on the left that looks like it might be made from hemp, and then on the right his carved wooden breastplate and forearm guards. And notice that these pieces are etched with symbolism, like the great many costumes that we've seen in Wakanda. And that completes this part 2 episode on the costumes of Black Panther. It's really been a pleasure sharing Ruthie Carter's work with you. Please let me know what your favorite Black Panther costume was in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider sharing it with your friends. I'll see you next week with another video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.